Recognizing the necessity of change also means realizing that growth is uncomfortable by design. If you are waiting for it to feel easy or convenient, you will be waiting forever. Growth stretches you. It challenges your beliefs, your habits, and your sense of identity. It dismantles the walls you built to protect yourself and invites you to live more openly, more vulnerably, more fully. You must be willing to be a beginner again. You must be willing to not have all the answers, to stumble, to learn, to evolve. This is how true reinvention begins, not with a sudden dramatic overhaul, but with a quiet, steady commitment to become something more. It begins the moment you stop settling for a life that feels good enough and start pursuing a life that feels deeply, authentically right. Letting go of old identities is one of the most challenging but essential parts of reinvention. We build identities over time based on our experiences, our environment, and the stories we tell ourselves. These identities shape how we see the world and how we see ourselves within it. They provide a sense of familiarity and security. But the same identities that once served us can eventually become cages that limit our growth. And the thing, when an identity is outlived, its usefulness is critical if you truly want to transform your life. Many of the labels we carry were not chosen consciously. They were assigned to us by parents, teachers, friends, or society. We are told from a young age who we are supposed to be: smart, shy, athletic, artistic, rebellious, responsible, and without questioning it, we internalize these labels and live within their boundaries. Over time, these labels become self-fulfilling prophecies. We behave in ways that reinforce them because it feels safe to align with what we believe to be true about ourselves. But what happens when these labels no longer fit who we are becoming? The truth is, every time you cling to an outdated identity, you anchor yourself to your past instead of your potential. You say yes to who you were and no to who you could be. Reinvention requires the courage to loosen your grip on the old stories you've been telling yourself. It requires a willingness to question deeply held beliefs like, I'm not good with people, I can't handle responsibility, I'm just unlucky in life, or I'll never be successful. These are not facts, they are narratives. And narratives can be rewritten. Letting go of old identities starts with awareness. Begin by noticing the statements you make about yourself, especially the ones that sound absolute. Anytime you hear yourself say, I am a, followed by something limiting, pause and reflect. Ask yourself where that belief came from. Was it based on a few bad experiences? Was it something someone else told you that you never questioned? Often, you will find that these identities are built on shaky foundations. They persist not because they are true, but because they have gone unchallenged for too long. Once you recognize the old identities you are clinging to, the next step is to consciously decide whether they align with the future you envision. If they don't, it's time to release them. This doesn't mean denying your past or pretending you were never that person. It means honoring who you were while making room for who you are becoming. It means acknowledging that growth sometimes requires shedding old skins. Letting go can be painful. It can feel like losing a part of yourself. There may be grief involved, especially if you strongly identified with a particular role or way of being. But it's important to remember that you are not erasing your history. You are evolving beyond it. Growth doesn't dishonor your past, it builds upon it. Every version of you served a purpose. Every version brought you lessons and strengths that you will carry forward. As you let go of old identities, it's also important to guard against the temptation to rush into new labels too quickly. Reinvention is not about swapping one rigid identity for another. It's about allowing yourself to be fluid, expansive, and open to possibility. It's about embracing the idea that you are a work in progress, not a finished product. You don't have to have all the answers about who you are becoming. You just need to stay curious and willing to grow. Practice seeing yourself not as a fixed being, but as an evolving story. Give yourself permission to be inconsistent, to explore new interests, to fail, to change your mind. The most alive people are those who are willing to reinvent themselves again and again, refusing to be trapped by who they once were. They understand that freedom lies in flexibility, in the willingness to redefine themselves as many times as necessary. Sorry. Letting go of old identities also means forgiving yourself for the times you acted in ways that no longer align with who you want to be. Self-judgment keeps you tethered to the past. Self-compassion liberates you to move forward. Understand that you did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. Now that you know better, you can do better. The more you practice releasing old labels and roles, the lighter and freer you will feel. You will begin to see yourself not through the lens of your limitations, but through the vast, limitless potential that has always existed within you. You will stop asking, "Who have I always been?" and start asking, "Who do I choose to become?" Crafting a new vision for your life is not just an exercise in imagination, it is an act of creation. Every great transformation begins with a clear, compelling vision of what could be. Without a vision, you are like a ship sailing without a destination, drifting wherever the winds of life take you. But with a vision, you become the captain of your fate, charting a course toward a life that is meaningful, fulfilling, and truly your own. A new vision acts as a magnet, pulling you toward the person you are capable of becoming. It gives your efforts direction, your struggles purpose, and your days a renewed sense of excitement. To craft a powerful vision, you must start by giving yourself permission to dream without limits. Many people have forgotten how to dream boldly. They have been conditioned to be practical, to think small, to lower their expectations in the name of being realistic. But reinvention demands that you temporarily suspend realism and allow your imagination to roam freely. Ask yourself, if nothing were impossible, if failure were not a fear, who would I be? What would I do? What kind of life would make me feel fully alive? Begin to envision every aspect of your ideal life. Picture where you live, the kind of work you do, the people you surround yourself with, the values you embody, the way you spend your time. What does your morning look like? How do you feel when you wake up each day? What impact are you making in the world? The more detailed and vivid your vision, the more powerful it becomes. Your mind works best with specifics. A fuzzy goal leads to fuzzy results, but a clear, emotionally charged vision ignites action. As you craft your vision, it is important to align it with your true values, not just societal expectations. Many people chase visions that were never really theirs to begin with. They pursue careers, relationships, and lifestyles that look good on the outside but leave them empty on the inside. To avoid this trap, ask yourself what truly matters to you. What brings you deep satisfaction, not just temporary pleasure? What principles are you unwilling to compromise? When your vision is rooted in your authentic values, it becomes a source of inner strength rather than a hollow performance. Another crucial part of crafting a new vision is understanding the difference between goals and visions. Goals are specific milestones you aim to reach, while a vision is the bigger picture of who you are becoming. Goals are useful, but they must serve the larger vision. Otherwise, you can achieve goals and still feel lost. The vision keeps you anchored. It reminds you why you started when the journey gets hard. It fuels your perseverance because it connects your daily actions to a greater purpose. Visualization is a powerful tool in this process. Spend time each day closing your eyes and mentally stepping into your vision. Feel it as if it's already real. Engage all your senses. Smell the air, hear the sounds, see the colors, taste the successes, feel the emotions. The brain doesn't distinguish much between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. By rehearsing your vision mentally, you condition your subconscious mind to accept it as possible and normal, which makes you more likely to act in ways that bring it to life. Writing your vision down is equally important. When you put your vision on paper, it moves from being a fleeting thought to a tangible declaration. It becomes a blueprint you can return to whenever you feel lost or discouraged. Keep it somewhere you can see often. Let it be a daily reminder that you are moving towards something meaningful, even on days when progress feels invisible. Crafting a new vision also means being willing to evolve it over time. As you grow, your desires and understandings will deepen. What excites you today may not excite you 5 years from now, and that's okay. Your vision should be a living document, not a rigid contract. Stay flexible. Allow new dreams to emerge as you discover more about yourself and the world. Reinvention is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong dance between who you are and who you are becoming. Above all, trust the process. Trust that crafting a vision, even before you know how to achieve it, is a powerful act of faith in yourself. You don't need to have all the steps figured out from the start. The how will reveal itself along the journey. Your responsibility is to dare to imagine a life worth living, a life that stirs your soul, a life that lights a fire in your heart. One of the most transformative principles you can apply in your journey of reinvention is to act as if you are already the person you want to become. This approach is not about pretending or faking. It's about aligning your current actions with your future identity. When you embody the mindset, habits, and behaviors of your ideal self before you see external results, you accelerate your transformation and create momentum that pulls your vision into reality. You are not waiting for change to happen to you. You are becoming the change actively and intentionally. Acting as if demands a deep level of self-awareness. You must first have a clear understanding of who your future self is. How does that person think, feel, and act on a daily basis? What habits do they have? What standards do they hold themselves to? How do they handle challenges, setbacks, and opportunities? The clearer your picture of your future self, the easier it becomes to step into that version of yourself right now, even in small, seemingly insignificant ways. Your brain and body are incredibly adaptable. When you consistently behave in a way that is aligned with a new identity, your mind begins to accept it as reality. Neural pathways associated with the old identity weaken, while new ones are formed and strengthened through repetition. Every time you make a decision that reflects your future self rather than your past self, you reinforce the transformation at a neurological level. You are literally rewiring your brain for the life you want to create. One of the common mistakes people make is waiting until they feel ready, confident, or worthy before they take action. They believe they need to see external evidence of success before they can embody success internally. But true change works in the opposite direction. Confidence is not a prerequisite, it is a result. Worthiness is not something you earn after you succeed. It is something you claim now. The external transformation you seek will follow the internal transformation you commit to today. Start by examining the daily behaviors that are inconsistent with your desired identity. If your future self is healthy and energetic, what choices would they make regarding exercise, nutrition, and sleep? If your future self is financially free, how would they manage their money, invest their time, and make decisions? If your future self is a confident leader, how would they communicate, handle criticism, and step into opportunities? Identify the gap between your current behaviors and your future standards, then begin closing that gap one decision at a time. Acting as if also involves mastering your inner dialogue. The way you talk to yourself shapes your identity more powerfully than any external factor. If you want to become someone who is courageous, you must speak to yourself with encouragement, not self-doubt. If you want to become someone who is disciplined, you must narrate your actions in a way that reinforces discipline rather than laziness. Words are spells you cast on yourself every day. Choose them wisely. Environment plays a huge role in supporting this shift. Surround yourself with reminders of your future identity. This could mean dressing in a way that reflects your ideal self, organizing your space to reflect your future success, or curating your social media and reading lists to reinforce the mindset you are cultivating. Every detail matters. Your surroundings can either anchor you to your old identity or propel you towards your new one. Resistance will inevitably show up. You will have moments where you feel like an imposter, where doubts creep in, where old habits try to reclaim their territory. This is normal and even a sign that you are stepping outside your comfort zone. Growth rarely feels comfortable in the beginning. When you feel resistance, use it as a cue to double down on your new behaviors rather than retreat into old patterns. Remind yourself that every great transformation feels awkward at first. Consistency is key. Acting as if is not about making a dramatic change for a day or a week and then slipping back into old habits. It is about showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when results are invisible, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Transformation is the cumulative result of countless small actions compounded over time. Each moment you choose to act in alignment with your future self, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. It's important to celebrate your progress along the way. Acknowledge the moments when you choose growth over comfort, discipline over distraction, courage over fear. These moments matter. They are evidence that you are shifting your identity, that you are not merely dreaming about change, but embodying it. Over time, What once felt unfamiliar will become your new norm. You will wake up one day and realize that you are no longer acting as if you are simply being the person you once dared to imagine. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is a critical part of it. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has failed, often multiple times along the way. Yet society conditions us to see failure as something shameful, something to be avoided at all costs. We are taught that mistakes are signs of weakness, that setbacks are indications that we are not good enough. This toxic perception creates a fear of failure so intense that it paralyzes many people before they even begin. Reinvention demands that you flip this script completely. You must learn to see failure not as a dead end, but as a stepping stone. When you embrace failure as part of the process, you remove its power to define you. Instead of seeing a setback as evidence that you are inadequate, you start seeing it as valuable feedback. Every failure contains within it the seeds of growth if you are willing to look closely. It reveals areas where you need to improve, skills you need to develop, or mindsets you need to shift. Failure shines a light on the gaps between where you are and where you want to be. Without that light, you would be stumbling in the dark, blind to your own limitations. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to avoid failure by playing small. They set safe goals, take minimal risks, and live within the boundaries of what feels comfortable. But comfort zones are not growth zones. If you are not failing occasionally, you are not pushing yourself hard enough. True reinvention requires you to stretch beyond your current capabilities, to attempt things you have never done before. By definition, that means you will stumble. Oh. You will fall short, you will make mistakes, and that is not only okay, it is necessary. Failure teaches resilience. It strengthens your capacity to bounce back, to adapt, to persevere in the face of adversity. Each time you fail and get back up, you build emotional and mental muscles that you will need for the bigger challenges ahead. Success is not about avoiding failure, it is about building the strength to withstand it and keep moving forward. The people who ultimately succeed are not those who never fall, they are the ones who refuse to stay down. To embrace failure, you must first redefine your relationship with it. Start by separating your identity from your outcomes. Just because you failed at something does not mean you are failure. Failure is an event, not a person. It is a temporary result, not a permanent label. When you internalize this truth, you liberate yourself from the shame that so often accompanies setbacks. You realize that failure says nothing about your worthiness, your intelligence, or your potential. It is simply part of the journey. Another important shift is to move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. A fixed mindset believes that abilities are static, that you either have talent or you don't, that success is reserved for a lucky few. A growth mindset, on the other hand, believes that abilities can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. When you adopt a growth mindset, failure becomes a tool for development rather than a verdict on your abilities. You start asking better questions. What can I learn from this? How can I improve? What will I do differently next time? Perspective is everything. Some of the most successful people in history faced massive failures before achieving great. Thomas Edison famously said that he didn't fail 1,000 times while inventing the light bulb. He found 1,000 ways that didn't work. J.K. Rowling faced multiple rejections before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. These stories are not exceptions, they are the rule. Success is built on the back of countless failures that were embraced, studied, and used as fuel for growth. When you experience failure, allow yourself to feel the disappointment, but do not dwell in it. Feel it fully, learn from it deeply, and then let it go. Son, holding on to failure, replaying it over and over in your mind, only anchors you to the past. Use the experience to propel you forward, armed with new knowledge and strengthened determination. Every failure you endure makes the eventual success that much sweeter because you will know that you earned it. Surround yourself with people who understand the value of failure. Choose mentors, friends, and communities that celebrate effort, growth, and resilience rather than only results. Being around others who are not afraid to fail creates a supportive environment where you are encouraged to take bold action without fear of judgment. Collective encouragement amplifies individual courage. When you shift your mindset to embrace failure as part of the process, you become unstoppable. The fear loses its grip on you. You no longer measure your worth by external successes or setbacks. You begin to realize that every experience, good or bad, is shaping you into the person you are meant to become. You stop playing small and start living boldly, knowing that failure is not the enemy, it is the path. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your ability to reinvent yourself and find happiness. Human beings are deeply social creatures. We unconsciously absorb the attitudes, beliefs, habits, and energy of those around us. If you are serious about transforming your life, you must be intentional about the company you keep. Surrounding yourself with growth minded people is not just a suggestion, it is a necessity. You cannot build a new version of yourself while staying tethered to relationships that pull you back into old patterns. Growth minded people see challenges as opportunities. They believe that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. Yeah. They encourage you to take risks, to step outside of your comfort zone, and to dream bigger than you ever thought possible. They don't belittle your ambitions. They fuel them. They don't laugh at your failures. They help you find the lessons hidden within them. Being around such individuals creates an environment where reinvention feels not only possible but natural. Take an honest inventory of your current circle. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with different people. Do you feel energized, inspired, and motivated? Or do you feel drained, doubtful, and discouraged? Some relationships are rooted in shared histories, not shared futures. It is important to recognize when certain connections no longer support your growth. This doesn't mean you have to cut people off with bitterness or anger, but it does mean you must prioritize your own evolution over old loyalties. You can love people from a distance while choosing to invest your daily energy in environments that nourish your dreams. Finding growth minded individuals often requires stepping into new spaces. You may need to attend seminars, join mastermind groups, participate in workshops, or become part of communities where personal development is a core value. Seek out mentors who have already walked the path you aspire to follow. Look for friends who are actively working on their own goals, not just talking about them. Align yourself with people who challenge you to think bigger, work harder, and believe more deeply in your own potential. The energy of a growth minded group is contagious. When you see others striving, pushing boundaries, and celebrating each other's wins, it normalizes the idea that progress and success are attainable. It becomes easier to stay committed to your journey when you are not doing it alone. You are constantly reminded that setbacks are temporary, that effort matters more than perfection, and that reinvention is a lifelong process worth embracing. It is equally important to be a growth-minded person for others. Support, encourage, and uplift those around you who are striving to better themselves. Celebrate their successes without jealousy. Offer a listening ear when they face challenges. Be the kind of friend, mentor, or partner you wish to have. The energy you give to others often returns to you multiplied. Creating an ecosystem of mutual growth and support benefits everyone involved. One of the most powerful aspects of surrounding yourself with growth-minded people is the shift in your standards. What once felt exceptional becomes the new baseline. When you are around individuals who are constantly learning, striving, and pushing limits, you naturally elevate your own expectations for what is possible. Mediocrity becomes uncomfortable. Excellence becomes the norm. This shift happens subtly at first, but compounds over time, creating a profound transformation in how you show up for your own life. You will also find that growth-minded individuals are not threatened by your ambitions or intimidated by your success. They understand that someone else's shine does not diminish their own. Instead of competing, they collaborate. Instead of resenting your achievements, they celebrate them. This kind of support creates a safe space where you can dream boldly and fail freely without fear of judgment. Choosing your circle wisely is an act of self-respect. It signals to the universe and to yourself that you are serious about your growth. It demonstrates that you value your time, your energy, and your potential too much to waste it in environments that stunt your development. It sets a standard for how you expect to be treated and what kind of energy you allow. into your life. Being part of a growth-minded community also provides accountability. When you voice your goals to people who believe in you, you feel a deeper sense of responsibility to follow through. When you see others taking action, you are inspired to match their energy. Accountability turns vague intentions into concrete commitments. It transforms hope into action. As you build and nurture relationships with growth-minded people, you will find that reinvention no longer feels like an isolated struggle. It becomes a shared journey, a collective adventure fueled by mutual encouragement, learning, and celebration. Together, you rise higher than you ever could alone. Reinvention and true happiness are only possible when you commit to lifelong learning and nurture a spirit of curiosity. Growth does not end when formal education is completed. In fact, it is only just beginning. Life itself becomes the greatest classroom, offering endless lessons, insights, and opportunities for transformation. If you want to continually evolve into the best version of yourself, you must adopt the mindset of a perpetual student, always open, always questioning, and always reaching for a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Lifelong learning is not limited to gathering new information. It is about cultivating the ability to adapt, to rethink, and to expand your perspectives. In a world that is constantly changing, the greatest skill you can develop is the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Clinging rigidly to old beliefs and outdated knowledge is a recipe for stagnation. Curiosity keeps you flexible. It keeps your mind agile and your spirit adventurous. It fuels innovation, resilience, and creativity, all of which are essential for reinventing your life. The most fulfilled and dynamic people are those who never lose their sense of wonder. They approach every experience with the eyes of a beginner, open to seeing new possibilities even in familiar situations. They ask questions instead of assuming they know all the answers. They are not afraid to admit what they do not know because they understand that ignorance is not a flaw. It is simply a starting point for discovery. This humble approach to learning accelerates growth far more than a rigid attachment to appearing knowledgeable. To foster lifelong learning, you must actively seek out new knowledge and experiences. Read widely and deeply across a variety of subjects. Expose yourself to different disciplines, cultures, and viewpoints. Attend workshops, listen to podcasts, take online courses, and engage in meaningful conversations with people from diverse backgrounds. Learning should not feel like a chore. It should feel like an adventure. Every new skill you develop, every new perspective you gain, expands your capacity to navigate life with wisdom and grace. Curiosity also drives you to explore your inner world. Personal growth is not just about accumulating external knowledge. It is about deepening your understanding of your own mind, emotions, and behaviors. Commit to self-reflection as a daily practice. Ask yourself challenging questions. Why do I react this way? What belief is driving this behavior? What lesson can I extract from this experience? The more curious you become about your inner landscape, the more empowered you are to make conscious, intentional choices that align with your true self. Lifelong learning requires humility because it demands that you acknowledge there will always be more to learn. No matter how much you achieve, how much you know, or how skilled you become, there will always be deeper levels of mastery to pursue. This humility keeps you grounded. It prevents complacency and arrogance. It ensures that you remain a student of life, receptive to the wisdom that comes from both success and failure, from both joy and suffering. Curiosity also enables you to turn challenges into growth opportunities. When faced with obstacles, instead of shutting down or giving up, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? How can this situation make me stronger, wiser, or more compassionate? Curiosity transforms problems into puzzles, setbacks into lessons, and difficulties into gateways for growth. It shifts your focus from victimhood to empowerment, from frustration to fascination. Another critical aspect of lifelong learning is embracing experimentation. Reinvention is not a linear path. It is a process of trial and error, of exploration and adjustment. Be willing to try new things, even if you are not immediately good at them. Be willing to fail forward, learning from each attempt. Growth comes from action, not from perfect planning. The more you experiment, the more you discover about what excites you, what resonates with you, and what path feels most authentic to your evolving self. Creating a habit of learning also builds resilience against fear. Much of the fear that holds people back stems from the unknown. When you commit to learning, the unknown becomes less intimidating because you trust your ability to figure things out. You build confidence not by knowing everything in advance, but by knowing that you can learn whatever is necessary along the way. This inner security is a powerful foundation for continual reinvention and happiness. Ultimately, a life committed to learning and curiosity is a life that remains vibrant, expansive, and full of possibility. It keeps you young at heart, regardless of your age. It fuels passion, purpose, and fulfillment. It ensures that no matter where you are in your journey, there is always another horizon to explore, another layer of potential to uncover, another beautiful mystery to dive into with an open heart and an eager